What's going on, everyone? RonMan here. Today we're taking a look at Young Merlin for the Super Nintendo. Young Merlin is a top-down puzzle adventure game that was developed by some jackass. I don't remember. As soon as the fucking camera starts rolling, I just can't remember a single fucking thing I'm supposed to say. It happens every time. You play as Merlin, and your objective is to stop the Shadow King as he tries to destroy all things of beauty. This game opens up with a woman falling into a creek, while the current quickly takes her away. Merlin attempts to save the woman, and ends up here. And this is where our journey begins. Throughout the game, you'll travel to many different places, find many different items, and defeat many different enemies. As you can see, the graphics are quite nice, complete with cartoony visuals and vibrant colors. The character animations are quite entertaining and sometimes even pretty funny. Check out the Shadow King. Shake harder, boy! So yeah, this game definitely has humor. The music is also good, some tracks better than others, but I absolutely love the Pinedale theme. Controls here are pretty standard. Y uses the item you have selected, while B uses the weapon you have selected. L and R cycles through the items, and A cycles through your weapons. Select will show you the item menu, and Start will show you the password menu. In this menu, you may also sample the game's music and sound effects. Now, this game kind of plays like Zelda, but there's a much bigger emphasis on puzzles, and Young Merlin is also a lot more linear. There's also no reading. Everything is communicated using thought bubbles and pictures. That's pretty neat. You will be stopped dead in your tracks if you can't figure out what to do next, and there's always just one solution to any given puzzle. The first time I played this game, I think I was like, maybe 8. I remember being stuck on this tree here. I could not figure out what to do. I was stuck for days, but eventually I solved the puzzle and continue, just to get stuck shortly later. I played this game back in the 90s. Internet existed, sure, but not everyone had access to it. I didn't. None of my friends had access to the internet. So in this game, when I got stuck, I really got stuck. When you find an item, there's something specific you need to use that item on. Some of these items you'll only use once or twice, while others you use throughout the game. Sometimes solving a puzzle is just a matter of using the right item at the right place, but not always. In this castle, you're trying to get these blocks onto the switches on the floor. So you know what to do, you just need to figure out a way to make it work. And sometimes the puzzle is a boss fight. Like for this guy here, would you guess that to finish the battle, you need to let him punch you? Also, as a kid, I remember being stuck on this spider here. Unfortunately, it is likely that you'll need a guide to get through this game. Alright, story time. About 12 years ago, I had a friend come over, and I showed him Young Merlin, and I challenged him to get to Pinedale within an hour with no hints. If he got to Pinedale within an hour, I would buy him 2 drumsticks. If you know what you're doing, you can get to Pinedale within 10 minutes, so it is a fair challenge, and stay tuned to the end of the episode to find out whether or not he got to enjoy some ice cream. This game is a lot of fun, but it's not perfect. For one thing, I think having a map would make certain parts more palatable. There's a few sections, like the mine or the overgrown garden, where I end up walking around in circles like an idiot. The only problem I can see with giving us a map is that perhaps maybe it would take some of the challenge away. Like, perhaps they intended for us to get lost, and that's the puzzle. The issue with that philosophy is that when you're lost for a considerable amount of time, you're more likely to just shut the game off. But before you do that, in this game it's best to wait for a password. Every so often, the Lady of the Lake will appear and give you a password. Take my warning. If you are on the password screen, do not press select. That will return you to the last point where you received a password. Yeah, I lost all my progress between that checkpoint and now. I was some kind of pissed off. If I wasn't doing a review for this game, I might have just stopped playing at that point. Mind you, I'm playing the Young Merlin cart on my actual Super Nintendo. If you're playing on an emulator, that shouldn't be an issue for you. You can just save state. Alright, so those issues are minor compared to this. This game is mostly good, but I really don't enjoy this part of the game, and that is the minecart. I really don't like these puzzles. Basically, you just have to get where the game wants you to go. But first time playing, you're not going to know where that is. It's all trial and error. I mean, the whole game is trial and error, but this is also tedious. If you crash, you go back. And you'll crash a lot. You practically need to memorize the track unless you get super lucky on your first try. And how do you memorize a huge track like this? By crashing. A lot. Like a lot. And this game has 3 separate minecart puzzles. And I especially hate this. If you're traveling south, the game gives you next to no foresight. You can hardly see what's coming. I crashed so many times at this part here because I didn't have it memorized, and I couldn't react fast enough. Honestly, just look up a map. Save yourself the trouble. At the end of the game, you'll refight all the bosses, except they have some new tricks up their sleeves. This time they feel like proper bosses. Each have someone you need to save, accompanied with intense foreboding music. I'm happy to say that the ending of this game is quite satisfying, and not the minecart part, but nothing is more satisfying than this dance. So that's Young Merlin. It's a great puzzle game with colorful visuals, enjoyable music, and entertaining humor. It does suffer from some issues, but if you're interested in adventure puzzle games, I would play this any way you can. I give Young Merlin a 7 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have you played Young Merlin? If so, what did you think of it? Tell me about some other puzzle adventure games down in the comments. And about my friend? No, he couldn't get to Pinedale. Took him an hour, he wasn't even close, so he didn't get to eat the ice cream. Please subscribe and we'll see you guys in the next video.